Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So today we're going to be talking about Uncanny X Men 5. Yes, I know I'm super behind. But I just got this issue in the mail Saturday because I did the Marvel subscription because you could save 40%, which is a good deal. But then if you get it like almost a month late, then you know, that's a really long time to wait. So I don't know. I might just, when this subscription ends, just try to find it out in the wild because my local comic book store doesn't sell comic books like new issues. So I'll have to see if I can find another comic book store that does. So anyway, I was excited to see the cover because the kitties. I love that Gambit has cats. Oliver, Lucifer, and Figaro, all after named after Disney cats. And that makes me think that Gambit needs to get Rogue a kitten for Christmas, a female kitten, and name her either Marie or Duchess. Well, Marie might be weird because Rogue's name is Anna Marie, but those are the only two female cat names that I can think of right now. So if you can think of any others, let me know in the comments because I can't think of any other right now. So this was kind of random that, she's Rogue's taking diction lessons in order to, lose her accent. And in one point, the coach says, oh, let's try again, shall we? And Rogue's like, I can't. And the coach says, I cannot. And this reminds me of, have you guys ever seen Singing in the Rain, the musical? Um, where, Gene Kelly and the actress who plays Lena Lamont. I can't remember her name right now, but they're silent film actors, and like Lena is super gorgeous and perfect, and she can act, do the motions. But when she goes to talk, because the whole premise of the movie is they're doing a talking picture, um, she's she has a very heavy, thick, nasally accent. And so everyone, they're like, Lena, your fans think that someone this beautiful would have a voice to match. So, because if you haven't seen it, it's really funny. It's really cute. You should see it. I mean, I've talked about this before. I love musicals. But anyway, as always, I'm getting off topic. So we open on this image next. And Rogue's like, I mean, Sarah has like really hurt her, and Rogue like it hurts so bad. She snapped my wrist, and I mean, I love David's art. I mean, Rogue looks so pretty. I think we've been spoiled because I know the artist changes in the next issue, so I'm not honestly not looking forward to that because I love his art. I think he is just so talented and makes everyone look so good, especially Rogue. She just looks so pretty. So Sarah standing over her, she's basically says she wants to scalp her, take her hair, and which is weird, but she is kind of weird. Um, and when the previews for this issue came out, it says, Rogue, can I help? And I thought it was Storm saying that because we see that Rogue is on the cover of Storm 3 with her. But then I thought, wait, it's too early. It's too early for Storm to make an appearance, considering this is the fifth issue and anyway, so I'm like, that's not her. It's probably not her. Oh, this was, I was like, no. So Gambit found these brute force cards, like with cartoon monsters on them, and that Chelsea had, and he's gonna use them, for his cards because there's a lot of enemies coming. And I just think, no, not the Pokemon cards. That's what it made me think of. I mean, they probably couldn't say specifically Pokemon in here, or it could be Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, I have those cards too. Yes, I know. But so I was just thinking, no, not the cards. Don't use the cards. So they're all gearing up to, fight all the hordes that Sarah sent there. And Jubilee is like, I never wanted this. All I wanted to do was sing and dance and be with my friends. But if I'm going to be able to do that someday, then I have to fight for, myself and the rest of my kind. So then we see that the person calling to Rogue is Harvey X. And she's like, I'm dead. I must be dead because you're dead and I see you. And he's like, you're not dead, but you will be dead if you don't do exactly what I say. So the battle rages on, and Nightcrawler mentions that he's not a killer. He thought he was a killer because Ransom says, "Don't you usually have a sword?" And he's like, when Nightcrawler says, "I'm not a killer. I used to be. I used to think I was one, but I'm not." And this is cool. Like I love Ember and Calico. I mean, okay, I love Ember mostly because I love horses. So Calico says, Ember, Juggernaut, like this fire armor, and it looks like, Calico even has a helmet like Juggernaut. And Fawn, who Sarah, transformed into this creature, basically in the first issue, tells her telepathically, basically, hey, I want you to take out, Ember and Calico first. So that to me, tells me that Calico and Ember are really important because she's telling, her to take them out first. And so Harvey is saying to Rogue, like, he can see the future. Like, he lied about his powers. He's actually pretty powerful. His body was just, decaying and stuff, but he's actually really powerful. Like, he shows this vision kind of the future, which to me, this, since it's a girl with Cyclops' powers, it like an alternate version of him, or maybe Scott and Jean's daughter from a different reality, different future. And this looks like Colossus being hunted by like robot dogs, and Nightcrawler, like spider crawler. And then this almost looks like Professor Xavier wearing Magneto's helmet. I don't know, but definitely a much younger person wearing his helmet. And then you see down here the graves. So this is the future he saw, the outliers that came to um Rogue for help. This was he saw their deaths because you can see there's unfortunately the horse skull right there. So that's what it is. And Rogue's like, I don't understand what's going on. So Harvey gave Rogue his powers. When they first met, she didn't even know it was happening. And that's why he can hear like insights. Like Rogue could hear kind of what was been going on with Wolverine, that something was off, that she, she just sensed something was wrong. So that's how she could tell things about Wolverine that she didn't think she would know. Um, and also Harvey says basically he didn't tell Rogue because he knew that she would object because he saw his future and he saw his parents attending his funeral, so he knew that he would die. But he saved his last little bit of power for Rogue because she needed it to save these kids. And the battle continues to rage on, except for Fawn takes down Calico, and Jubilee's like, oh my gosh, we're losing. Like, we can't. Because Wolverine earlier says, like, he can smell, like, 104 enemies. So they're losing. And so Jubilee says to Gambit, Gambit, and he's like, I know. So he takes out the Eye of Agamotto that he took from the snake dragon in the first issue, and he's like, I don't even know how to use this, but I need you to save my friends. So he manages like to do that. Like they're all like blown away and they win the battle. And then you see that Rogue is still talking to Harvey. And Harvey's like, all I ever wanted was to be an X-Men. And Rogue's like, but my wrist, she broke it. She cracked it open. I can't fight like this. I'm too weak. I'm too beaten up. And Harvey's like, well, I've been keeping another secret from you. And he actually has healing powers, and he saved the rest of it for her because his healing powers have been keeping him alive, just basically barely sustaining him. And he saved his powers though for Rogue because he knew that Rogue would need him. So here's a close up of her wrist, which, ooh, you can see the bone. That's kind of gross. And then you see it healing because she has Harvey's powers. Like I said, I'm gonna miss David's art. It's just I mean, Rogue's just she looks so pretty. She's so well drawn. So she gets up and basically kicks Sarah's butt. And you can see Harvey, he's cheering for her. And Rogue discovers Sarah's secret, which I knew Charles wouldn't have had another kid, just, that he didn't really know about. But when Sarah said to Charles, I'm pregnant, he's like, Sarah, you're not. And she's like, how do you know? And it's because, he's telepathic. Either he couldn't sense another mind within her, or, he knew that she was lying. And basically, Sarah wanted him to pretend. I mean, they'd only been together a month. That sounds a little crazy, like a little crazy kind of behavior to be like after a month, just lie to a guy and say, "Hey, I'm pregnant with your baby, and I want us to be together forever, and I want us to, basically, now that I'm not pregnant, at least pretend to have a family." So basically, she said Charles chose his mutants, like over her, which sounds familiar. He did the same thing to Amelia Boat. He chose the X-Men over her, and then she would later join Magneto's acolytes. Um, But yeah, so that's the secret. She hates mutants, so she wants to get rid of all of them in order to get revenge on Professor Xavier because he wouldn't pretend to have a kid with her. Oh goodness. And her son actually came a year later. So basically, she's saying, I'm gonna kill every last one of you mutants, which, okay, well, I'll talk about that in a second. Every last one of you. And Rogue's like, no, you won't. She knew she had to stop her because she wouldn't keep coming. And Harvey says, Rogue, I have to go now. Because she's used all of his powers. And he's like, don't forget me, okay? Which I'm like, oh, first time I read that, I was like, got a little bit teary. I mean, when first when I read the first issue, I got a little bit teary when he died because that's pretty sad. So, and then we see Gambit telling Marcus and his wife and daughter, Chelsea, that everything's good. They can come out now. And it's interesting that Wolverine, his eyes have not healed yet. Like, he has this regenerative healing factor, and yet his eyes still haven't healed yet. So basically, what happens, I'm disappointed we don't see the cats down there in the basement because, they're on the cover. So I feel like we should see them, but we don't. So Rogue takes Sarah to the warden, who is using, their home as a prison for mutants. And Rogue's like, thinking, I hate this because it's against everything we stand for. But at the same time, they don't have anywhere to keep her or hold her. And, she threatens the warden saying, if you let her loose, if you, let her escape, I'm coming after you and make sure you take care of our home because we're coming to take it all back. Which, they've already announced the X-Men, Uncanny X Men crossover raid on Grey Malkin Lane. So, oh, I'm excited about this. I always liked magic. So that's coming in December. Oh, like next month, a couple days. So, and then the next issue, which, like I said, I think came out today, which is so sad because, like I said, I didn't get that in the mail yet. So, who knows when I'll be posting that video. But if any of you guys have watched this video, I appreciate it because I know I'm super late. So you probably already know all about this issue. So, this is the next issue. The kids go to school. Anyway, okay. I have a lot of questions though. Like, okay, about Sarah mostly. So, she wanted to have this baby with Charles, and after a month, and when he's like, no, you're not pregnant. I don't know why you'd lie to me about being pregnant, especially since I for sure, like, can tell that you're not. And then she gets all mad and upset and then wants to basically ruin his life and everything he cares for. My thing is, I still don't really understand how she got her powers. Like, a hurricane came through. She, was underwater for like 3 days, and then she rose out of the water and she was, what she is now. So they still don't really explain that. And then the whole thing with she takes mutants, lesser mutants, and turns them into like her personal army. So the 104 like figures that they fought, were those all mutants that she turned and brainwashed, or were there also some humans that she maybe strengthened, turned, brainwashed? I mean, like I said, I have so many questions. Like how did that happen? Like how I don't know. I have questions. Like I need answers. And I feel like unfortunately, since the kids are going to school, we're already moving on from this Sarah story. We're not, of course, moving on from the warden, not yet, but from Sarah, we're already moving on from that. So I feel like I'm not gonna get answers to my questions, which that kind of is a bummer. But I think it's interesting how many, groups or people or whatever hate mutants, and yet they use mutants like so often. Like, Days of the Future Past, humans used mutants as hounds, like Rachel was one of them. And then Sarah using mutants as her own personal army. The warden, that took over their home, she has her own pet mutants, and she's using she's captured mutants to probably use them against other mutants. So it's interesting how often mutants are used by people who hate mutants. Just saying. So anyway, um, tomorrow I actually have a Thanksgiving video that I'm gonna do, and then I have another like a video intro to something that I decided to do for December. So I hope you guys will join me in the future, like for more videos, and join me tomorrow for the Thanksgiving video. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And until next time, bye.